Hi guys, welcome to Mystery Diagnosis.
I had, I believe, one hot dog and one cheeseburger. All the food was gone. Everyone had a good time.
But shortly after dinner, Kevin begins to feel very queasy.
I just felt like something wasn't settling too well in my stomach, and
Foodborne illness?
just needed to maybe rest it off. I was pretty tired, so I pretty much fell asleep right away. And within a couple hours, I woke up with a pretty bad cramp-like feeling in my stomach.
She said, I'm not feeling too good. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe it's something that I'd eaten. Do you feel okay? And I said, yeah, I feel fine.
His symptoms soon clear up. Emerges.
I woke up and started to walk. I started to feel a little woozy.
It's some type of brain infection from the meat.
Kevin decides to head into work, but once he's there, the dizziness only intensifies.
It was like my balance, my equilibrium was out a little bit, and then it started to get worse through the day. It was like I had to concentrate harder to be able to walk straight. And within a few hours, I called my wife and told her that things weren't feeling right.
I immediately told Kevin to come home.
Alarmed, Tina rushes home to meet him, but nothing could have prepared her for the state Kevin is in.
Kevin was missing steps. He was actually stepping down before the steps were there. He said, yes, I know. I noticed that I've been doing it all day. It is kind of scary for me. I don't know what's going on. He was just really off balance. He couldn't open the door by himself. I was afraid that if he did that, maybe he would fall over.
Yeah, it was very unsettling not being able to control myself. Just to walk across the room was definitely very frightening.
And like a cute puppy.
I couldn't hold him up any longer on my own. And when we had gotten into the emergency room, we had gotten a wheelchair for him to sit in.
At the ER, who notes that he has a low fever. And putting Kevin's seemingly unrelated symptoms together, she comes up with a new theory.
The doctors had a suspicion that it was Lyme disease.
I could agree with that, but the problem with mystery diagnosis is you're given a bunch of fake diagnoses before you get the correct one. So the one closer to the end of the video is the correct one.
Lyme disease is a bacterial infection caused by a bite from an infected tick. Classic symptoms include weakness of the limbs, fever, and gastrointestinal distress. But the next morning, before Tina even has a chance to call the neurologist, an alarming new symptom emerges.
I had noticed that Kevin was starting to struggle to speak a little bit. His voice was sounding distorted.
I don't feel okay.
As the ER doctor hears Kevin's halting speech, he doesn't think Kevin has had a stroke, but is suffering from some kind of neurological imbalance.
The doctors had gotten him up to try and get him to walk, maybe like a straight line to see if he could do it, and he just fell into the wall. They also gave Kevin a coordination test to where they had him pointing to the doctor's fingers or pointing himself to his nose, trying to point out stuff while it was moving, and he couldn't keep up with it.
But within just hours,
and they'd asked him to read just the clearest line that he could read, and he couldn't read anything, not one letter. Kevin couldn't close his eyes at all. They were completely open. He couldn't move them.
From that point on, I don't remember anything.
He had stopped talking.
Kevin lapses into unconsciousness.
It's Bickerstaff, Brainstem, Encephalitis.
Kevin with Bickerstaff, Brainstem, Encephalitis.
Bickerstaff brainstem encephalitis is a rare autoimmune disorder in which antibodies target the brainstem. In a healthy individual, antibodies fight bacteria. Once their job is done, they flow through the bloodstream harmlessly. But in patients like Kevin, his antibodies mistakenly identify his brainstem as toxic and attack it, causing it to swell up.
Kevin's body produces antibody to defeat the bacteria. Unfortunately, the same antibody attacked his brain because of the similarity of the bacteria and certain compounds of the brain structure.
Dr. Zangaladze suspects the bacteria first entered Kevin's system 3 weeks earlier at the barbecue.
I agree.
It comes from the food, undercooked meat or poultry. Anybody could get the bacteria who eats the contaminated food.
They had said Kevin's immune system could have been a whole lot lower than everybody else's because he had done the MS-150 bike ride. So they thought that maybe he was, kind of exhausted and weakened from that.
That's why I don't
All
like
the
all
other
long
terrifying
bike rides
symptoms
or
Kevin
stuff like that.
experienced were the direct
feel like
result
it's
of his
managing my immune
brainstem
system.
swelling. The standard agent for removing antibodies is a blood product called IVIG, which can reduce inflammation. Tina is napping at Kevin's bedside when a noise wakes her up.
While we were sleeping, everything was dark in the room when he had just blurted out a couple words out of nowhere. And it had startled me. I said, "Did you say something?" And he even looked at me and he said, "Where are my dogs? Who has my dog?"
I know in that case you would want someone to say, "I missed you, I'm glad to be alive," or "Where's the doctor? I want to thank him," something like that. But at least they're talking.
Very well to the treatment. Within 2 days, he could say more words. His speech become more understandable and slowly starting to move his eyes into all directions.
That's great.
He and his family feel lucky that Dr. Zangaladze made the diagnosis before Kevin suffered any damage to his heart or lungs.
I don't understand that
We
part.
wouldn't
Today, a full year since the ill-fated barbecue, Kevin has fully recovered and is enjoying his life again.
And now everything's back to normal. I'm playing with the dogs, taking them for long walks, and back out on the bike, training for my MS-150 ride again.
While the odds of Kevin ever coming down with the disease again are very low, Tina and Kevin can't help but pay extra special attention when preparing their food,
I don't blame
especially
you.
meat.
It's pretty scary to think that something like that could happen to you just from not properly cooking something.
I'm very cautious from now on about everything that we possibly, digest. I either boil it or they also told me that if you freeze stuff before you eat it, it'll kind of kill the bacteria.
I've heard
For
that.
Tina and Kevin, each day has taken on new meaning, because now they know how quickly it can all slip away.
There's definitely not a day that goes by that I don't have some thought about what happened. I feel blessed. It's an experience I would wish no one ever had to go through.
You don't know how precious life is and that it could be taken away from you so quickly. Almost losing Kevin really makes you think about what you have, and it makes us cherish each other even more.
Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.